my delicious co-creators, Lilu here. I'm on the Juicy Living Tour in Amsterdam. Yes, in Holland with two juicy people. Hello, with Tijn and Kris. Hello.
Hi, Lilu. Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice meeting you.
Thank you for this lovely dinner. We just had a beautiful soup and it was yummy, yummy. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. That's Dutch hospitality.
Yes. And I'm super excited about tonight. Well, actually, I should say first you're writers, and I know you practice yoga and meditation for many years, and you met on this magical quest, on this enlightenment quest, the two of you. So now you're a couple, and there's so many things to talk about. But first of all, I really wanted to thank you for the concert. Silent concert is going to happen tonight, and I think the initiative that you put together is fantastic. And I would love to start talking about that you explain us what's happening there, because it could be a real model, and it is a model for a lot of European countries around the world.
Yeah, well, thank you. The idea that we created is that we asked people all over Holland to open up their living rooms for shared meditation. Yeah. And because we've been doing that actually for years, and opening up our living room, and it's so wonderful, and people, connect in a very deep way. And it's lovely to see how, when you're silent together, that you create such a wonderful flow and harmony. And so we wrote a book together. It's called Cities of Light. And we asked people to open up their living rooms. And up until now, about 500 living rooms have been opened within a year. And it's really like, it's in a way like your show, I guess, or your films. It's carried by the people. I mean, it's completely free from government interference, funding or whatever. People just open up their hearts, their living rooms, and meditate together.
It's such a great initiative, and I'll definitely place the link under the video, and you can join if you're in Holland, in Belgium. There's more people than in other countries, but time to put it in English, huh?
Yes, that's very necessary. I hope my publisher is listening.
Yeah, same thing for your books, because unfortunately his books so far are only in Dutch. So this is quite a juicy, privileged video, because we got the first video in English here before this spreads.
Our breakthrough. Yeah.
So tell us. Let's talk about the book. What's your vision of enlightenment? Do you have the similar vision? Did you? Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have a similar vision. Would you like to say something about enlightenment, or?
You wrote a book, Crash Course Enlightenment. That was his first book, which became a bestseller. And so I think
I think you're the man for this situation here. Come on, you got two women, beautiful women.
All right, thank you. Well, so about 4 years ago, I decided to write that book. I lived like a yogi for 14 years here in Holland, and just like I look now, I didn't have a robe, and I didn't have bald hair or butter on my on my forehead. So I was just basically, living a normal life, but I got up every morning at 4 o'clock for meditation, and I lived celibate, and I was very precise with my food, and actually every waking minute I was either meditating or studying, basically, because I was fascinated by the idea that enlightenment really exists. I'd had a few experiences of enlightenment, more like little presents, all of a sudden I would sort of feel like, oh yeah, this is it, this is me. Like it felt a little bit like being able to watch my thoughts from a distance, and really feeling at home with myself, coming home to myself. And so I decided to investigate that, and started traveling around the world just like you, interviewing yogis, masters, gurus, and having more and more experiences. So I did that for 14 years, and then after those 14 years, there came a day or a morning. Actually, I woke up in the morning one morning, and I thought, I don't know if I'm going to get any more enlightened than this, because I just felt so free, blissed out. Yes, yes, and most of the day, really. Yeah. But the only thing was that I was so far apart, in a sense, from the world and from what normal people are, dealing with, that I was really a little bit thinking, well, I think people, they look up to me in a way, they maybe they feel inspired, but hardly anybody really thinks I want to be like that, because it's just too far out in a sense, a little bit too exotic. And so then I decided to let go of all my disciplines and see if it's possible to live in this enlightened stage while you're participating in normal, things like marriage and buying houses and
having sex,
exactly. Having friends, going out to the bar and having alcohol, or things like that. Yeah. And so that happened about 10 years ago. I sort of made that switch gradually, and met Kris. We got married and we decided to be enlightened together, basically.
But you met during those trips, from my understanding. You were on a similar journey. You were meditating too, and then you met. You were both on a sabbatical year.
Yes.
And here you are. Well, tell us about that moment. Or did it happen right away, or is just because it was more the values and?
Yeah, when I started on my spiritual search, I was quite young. I was 24 years. And I also devoted myself to the yogi path, living a celibate life and, meditating early in the morning. And I did that for 1.5 years, really loving it, really having a feeling of coming home. And I really wanted to continue, but I wanted to continue on my own way, not being part of a spiritual organization, but having my own connection, not really needing the rules. And I wanted to set my own rules.
I'm sure many people recognize that one there.
Yeah. So, and I think when we came together, we really felt the same thing, and we wanted to develop our spiritual life. Independently, but also together, but also independently, and really trusting our own wisdom and all that we feel inside. So, yeah, it's
your path crossed a few times before you decided to get married, huh?
Yes.
Actually.
And yeah, when I was 24, after we met in India, and years later. We met again, and we became very good friends. And only after half a year of intimate friendship, there was some different developments.
But you are both Dutch. How funny to meet on the other side of the world and be together now and living now in Amsterdam.
Exactly. Well, because the first time I met her, I was, in my very serious yogi phase, and I told her because she said she wanted to go to India, and to meet God, basically. And I said, well, yeah, but I think you need a little preparation, because India can be like really a shock, and especially when you go there and you start meditating, like, I don't know, hours and hours a day, you probably need some preparation. So I said to her, why not, for a few months, start, living on a vegetarian diet to start with, and, sort of cleaning yourself out a bit, trying meditation and maybe trying celibacy, for a little while to just get into your own energy and stuff like that. And, then go to India. Anyway, a month later, I was in India and I saw her, it's like, what are you doing here? You shouldn't be here, So,
very stubborn.
She was very stubborn.
Yeah, I was very stubborn, and I wanted to go straight where I felt I should go. So why not?
Yeah.
I took a big jump into yogi life. Yeah.
Why not? Is there one path?
No, there isn't, actually. And I'm really glad you did it, because in the end, even though I think for her development was really, really fast, sometimes a little bit too fast. But, after a while it just settles, and because I remember her sitting like on rooftops, like for hours in meditation, and or in gardens, and like everybody would be having dinner or going to bed, and it's like, where's Kris, Oh, she's still sitting there, in this sort of deep, blissed out stage. And yes. But then when we came together, and we decided to to marry and be normal people, so to say, it took a little while, at least for me, to find a new balance, because you know, with every step I took, for instance, you know, like, okay, I try alcohol again, or sex, or coffee, or meat, or stuff like that. With every step, it was sort of like I was constantly feeling like, am I still feeling that connection? You know, am I still feeling that light? Can I still step back from all of this and enjoy that inner space? Or is this really taking me away from what, you know, is most valuable? And so after a while, you sort of like some things you sort of, well, that was nice to try it again, but I'm not going to, you know, go down that path again.
But I think what's really interesting, what's happening now in the world is that it's harmonizing. Like we went black and white, and now we're kind of just, I think everything is possible in our lives, and that takes, it's true mastery right there to apply it in real conditions.
Right, and you know, what really gives me a lot of hope is that there's a new generation now that is so, you know, for instance, for my generation, I'm 52, for my generation, it was, you know, spirituality was really like a serious thing, you know, like a real quest, you know, and it's something you had to really conquer, you know, because your parents and everybody around you was sort of like, what are you into, you know? And so, and for many people also, I think spirituality was an escape, you know, from, you know, the dark reality and the stress and this and that, you know. But this generation that I see now, you know, younger people from like some 20 onwards or something, for them, spirituality is really like something that is much more natural to them. It's not an escape from the world. It's not a big thing even, you know. It's just something that they sort of feel inside, and they dare follow, you know, or they dare...
In a very authentic way as well.
Yeah.
Like they don't need the books, they don't need the lectures, they don't need the teachings, you know. They have this natural ability to listen to their own wisdom or intuition, and it's very beautiful to see.
There's a big festival here in Holland. It's called Lowlands, and it's one of the major pop festivals around the world. It's really huge.
South of Holland, is it?
No, that's Pink Pop. That's also very big. But this is actually even bigger.
It's bigger, yeah.
It's really big. And Kris and I, for 3 years now, we've been giving meditation sessions at Lowlands. And in the beginning was sort of like, you know, who's going to come, you know, because it's bands and it's alcohol and it's fun and it's this and that. But so many people come each year and they have great experiences. And that's why I know that this younger generation, because that is that generation, they're so open to it. Yeah.
But I think it's all of us, we're getting it. All of us are getting it, like really getting it,
Exactly.
in an easy way. What is your definition of enlightenment? How would you encapsulate that?
I think for me anyway, enlightenment is the feeling of being able to step out of the conditioned reality, which is basically your mind, your way of thinking, and being able to look at that from a sort of objective standpoint. And the feeling is coming home for me anyway. It's like, you know, finally coming back to that space or that place inside of you where you're whole and you're free and you're still loving and juicy, very juicy. Because, you know, and the juice actually is for me that when I'm in that space, it feels like I'm so inspired. And it's like the yogis in India, when I ask them, you know, what is your definition of enlightenment? They say, get out of the way. You know, that's it. Just being able to step out of your own drama and your preconditioned mind so that, you know, enlightenment or inspiration can flow through you. That's how I experience it.
So when you create music together, you have those silent concerts, you're really centered and in that place, and then you just create in the moment. How does this happen?
It also feels like we create a sacred space, and in the sacred space there is space for the soul, you know, to when you look at education, there's not a lot of space for soul. And sometimes it's very hard, and it doesn't feel like real education because it doesn't feel that you embody the knowledge that you take in. And with the silent concert, we really try to create an atmosphere where there's a lot of space for the original feelings of the soul, like feeling peace, you know, drinking in the love, drinking in your energy in a poetic way. And also become more in touch with that beauty. And inspiration.
Yeah, and how cool to do that together.
Oh, it's so nice.
You
And
have
it's
this other language.
yeah, it is a language, and actually, it's a language that works sometimes better than words, because words, people still, you interpret words from your left brain, so it has to sort of be translated into feelings. Whilst music, we all know, music just opens your heart. You don't think about it, and it's funny how it came into being, these concerts, because when my first book came out, Crash Course Enlightenment, I was just giving a lot of lectures in Holland about enlightenment and interviews and everything, and there I saw the limits of words, and you can point to enlightenment, but the thing is that once you've experienced it, this awakening, then you never forget, you just know it, and so I thought maybe I should try to do more meditations and even try music, so that people can really relax into this feeling. So Kris decided to come along and do a lot of the guided meditations while I was playing the piano. Then after some time, she just started to sing with it, so that it became even more poetic and nice, something to really feel. And then songs started developing. And then at some stage, somebody from the audience said, please, can you shut up in between the songs? We just want to hear the music, just don't talk about enlightenment, just let us feel it, And we thought, wow, that's a great idea, thank you, So we just started doing only the music. And that's how the silent concerts came into being.
Do you find that gratitude in that moment when you're in the moment of creation is a big part of feeling it and being connected in a deep way?
For me, yes. When I'm grateful, then that's like the key to open the gates, the floodgates to God. Definitely.
You too?
Yes, definitely. But it's also very nice to experience how we both create songs together. Sometimes I hear Tijn playing the piano upstairs, and then maybe I'm downstairs hearing some sounds and noises, and then the song just comes along, and then not even being together, we created the song, and then bringing it together, and it's very nice to inspire each other in that way.
It's a whole new way of creation, actually. I'm just so surprised, even my publisher is so surprised the amount of books I turn out in such a fast tempo. But I honestly don't have the feeling that I'm writing these books. It's so funny, I get up in the morning, I still get up very, very early, and then I go to a place where I can write, and I just sit, I become silent, I'm available, basically. And things just start, and it's amazing because, of course, I do study, It's not that I'm just completely open and let's see what happens. But it's amazing how beautiful it becomes. It's like there's like a line in the book, and there's things that are connected that I could honestly never have thought of myself. And if I would have thought of it, it would have taken me years probably to think of a structure like that, And so I think that's the beauty of this time, that because I think a lot of people are experiencing that creation doesn't have to be difficult and doesn't have to go through all the mind steps, and there's a new way.
Yeah, it's a new way, and it seems much faster. And it's like Sonia Choquette says, it's traveling at the speed of love. It's traveling first class when we're connected. I mean, it just like boom, the doors open, the inspiration comes. Yes. It's not a struggle. When we stay in fear, it's very slow, and then we get stuck.
But the thing is, you have to be, well, like we were talking about, a professional listener. You have to be.
What's my job, professional listener?
A professional listener, that's her. But that's the thing. I mean, I think that's the key: being able to really listen, to receive. And that's also why I'm really happy to be with two ladies, because I really feel that this is a time for the feminine. Because the feminine more traditionally is not the sending, but the receiving part of ourselves. And so I really feel that feminine quality of being able to listen and receive is very vital, because a lot of the structures that we've been living in are collapsing, economic, politics, religion, which are all basically mind-based structures, and they're collapsing now. And so I guess it's time to really be open to something new, and we don't know what it is yet. We can only listen. And
I feel that the logo that we have behind us here is shows that. Can you describe it? Because this is the evolution is here.
Exactly. Yes. In the middle, there's the human being, and it's the transparent human being. And for us, that really means that if you can really, be so open and also process, and heal, because there's a lot of dark emotions inside of us that also have to be healed. Yes. And then you become transparent and open. And then the light, the big light can go through you, can spread through you, so that you can be like an angel in a sense, a transparent human being. And of course, the love, the hearts, is very big part of it. And the bubbles stand for us for joy and playfulness. Yeah. The only thing about the logo, and it's very funny, and I didn't even realize that in the beginning, the person doesn't have feet. Yeah. And this is something that people said to me, like they said, yeah, that's typical for you, because you don't want to touch the earth. So I've been experimenting maybe with a new book of trying to sort of get feet on there, because I do realize that touching the earth is also part of the spiritual awakening process.
That's what I'm doing. I will touch the earth for you.
That's what's so beautiful in a couple, and how we give to each other what the other one didn't really have, or what was missing. Or we're great teachers for each other. Huh?
Oh yes, definitely. Yeah, yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled by this conversation. I'm thrilled to be with you and experiment the concert, the silent concert. And I'm really grateful for Ivo that introduced us and that we were able to do this. If there is something else that you really want to share that we didn't say, or that you want to, could you?
Well, there's one more thing about enlightenment which I would really like to tell to your audience, and that is that enlightenment is actually very easy. Because enlightenment throughout the ages, people have told us, religions have told us, that enlightenment is very difficult. It's something that you really have to strive for many lives even, and that it's something that only a few people, achieve. And actually, this is not true. Enlightenment is really your original nature. We are enlightened. This is our origin. But our education systems and our religions have actually taken us away from that reality. And so I think that's something I would really like to tell people. Like, it is your original nature. There's nothing difficult about enlightenment. In fact, it's more difficult to not be enlightened than to be enlightened. Because then you're so caught up in your old patterns.
There's people coming in.
People coming now.
It's time.
Be busy. Yeah, so claim your birthright for enlightenment.
Thank you so much, Lilou, for being with us.
Oh my goodness, it's my honor and pleasure. Thank you.
Please come again, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Much, much love, my delicious co-creators. Bye-bye. Ambitious Co-Creators, Lilu here. I'm on the Juicy Living Tour in Amsterdam. Yes, in Holland with two juicy people. Hello with Tijn and Kris. Hello.
Hi, Lilu. Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice meeting you.
Thank you for this lovely dinner. We just had a beautiful soup and it was yummy. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. That's Dutch hospitality.
Yes. And I'm super excited about tonight. Well, actually, I should say first you're writers, and I know you practice yoga and meditation for many years, and you met on this magical quest, on this enlightenment quest, the two of you. So now you're a couple, and there's so many things to talk about. But first of all, I really wanted to thank you for the concert. Silent concert is going to happen tonight, and I think the initiative that you put together is fantastic. And I would love to start talking about that you explain us what's happening there, because it could be a real model, and it is a model for a lot of European countries around the world.
Yeah. Well, thank you. The idea that we created is that we asked people all over Holland to open up their living rooms for shared meditation. Yeah. And because we've been doing that actually for years, and opening up our living room, and it's so wonderful, and people, connect in a very deep way. And it's lovely to see how when you're silent together. So I was just basically, living a normal life, but I got up every morning at 4 o'clock for meditation, and I lived celibate, and I was very precise with my food, and actually every waking minute I was either meditating or studying, basically, because I was fascinated by the idea that enlightenment really exists. I'd had a few experiences of enlightenment, more like little presents, all of a sudden I would sort of feel like, oh yeah, this is it, this is me. It felt a little bit like being able to watch my thoughts from a distance, and really feeling at home with myself, coming home to myself. And so I decided to investigate that, and started traveling around the world just like you, interviewing yogis, masters, gurus, and having more and more experiences. So I did together that you create such a wonderful flow and harmony. And so we wrote a book together. It's called Cities of Light. And we asked people to open up their living rooms. And up until now, about 500 living rooms have been opened within a year. And it's really like, it's in a way like your show, I guess, or your films. It's carried by the people. I mean, it's completely free from government interference, funding or whatever. People just open up their hearts, their living rooms, and meditate together.
It's such a great initiative, and I'll definitely place the link under the video, and you can join if you're in Holland. In Belgium, there's more people than in other countries, but time to put it in English, huh?
Yes, that's very necessary. I hope my publisher is listening.
Yeah, same thing for your books, because unfortunately his books so far are only in Dutch. So this is quite a juicy, privileged video, because we got the first video in English here before this spreads.
Breakthrough. Yeah. So
let's talk about the book. What's your vision of enlightenment? Do you have the similar vision? Did you yeah?
Yeah, I think we have a similar vision. Would you like to say something about enlightenment, or?
You wrote a book, Crash Course Enlightenment. That was his first book, which became a bestseller. And so I think I think you're the man for this situation here. Come on, you got two women, beautiful women.
All right, thank you. Well, so about 4 years ago, I decided to write that book. I lived like a yogi for 14 years here in Holland, and just like I look now, I didn't have a robe, and I didn't have bald hair or butter on my on my forehead.